Hello, friends. Welcome to Behind the Word, a show that helps you recognize the power, codes, and frequencies behind your words. I am your host, alchemist, and teacher, Kelly Castle. I am launching this show because we are at a point in human history where I believe we need as many people as possible to fully express their unique, beautiful, quirky, smart, loving, caring, imaginative selves, to embody divinity. That means learning how to manifest. That means doing self-work, self-healing. That means studying and practicing the lessons passed down to us from Pythagoras, Plato, Socrates, Jesus, the Indian gurus and Egyptians, and many more ascended masters. The information I'm going to present to you in this show has largely been hidden from the public for the past 1,500 or so years. It has been hidden from the general public because if you don't know the power you truly have access to, they can control you and pull more power and wealth to themselves. It's as easy as that. However, people who make it to the top use this information. Presidents, elite athletes, musicians, celebrities, world leaders, and Forbes 500 company business leaders. Anyone that you can look at and see, wow, how did they make it there? They know how to use this information. Right now is a make or break moment for humanity. Sink or swim, a zero-sum game. It is time to step up. It is time to realize the incredible divine being you truly are. Yes, I said divine. I am going to help you in your journey realizing your divinity by teaching you what you are actually putting out into the universe every time you think, say, or write a word. There are frequencies and codes embedded in words. These codes embody energies like love, curiosity, freedom, wisdom, joy, expression, success, service, masculinity and femininity, or completion. All kinds of things. I have found from my own experience that when I use words consciously, meaning with awareness, I can focus my energy with laser-like precision towards the things I am manifesting or amplifying, and it happens faster. So this is my offering to you. So I will be here live on YouTube and Instagram. Hello, Instagram family. Monday through Friday morning at 10:30 a.m. Central Time. So make sure you look up your own time zone. Hit subscribe so you get notified when a new video goes up or I'm live. And if you get something from this video today, give it a thumbs up on the YouTube page and tell a friend. Share the link in a text message or go to the Instagram page and send someone today's word, which will be in a post on Instagram after this episode. The Instagram handle is behind the word 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. So it is all of the numbers followed by the words. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to move this guy over here and just Instagram people, remember that this is not going to be posted. The whole video is not going to be posted on Instagram afterwards, it's only going to be on YouTube. So if you are watching on Instagram and you don't have time to watch the whole thing, or you want to go back and watch it or send it to someone, make sure you go onto YouTube to send it to someone. Okay, but you can see my screen now here, Instagram folks, and YouTube. Let's do this. So today's word, the very first word of the show, is listen. And so that we have our ears open and our bodies ready to listen and take in this information, let's just do a short little drop in and tune in to get us all on the same frequency. And if you are driving or in a place where you can't stop and take a moment, that is okay. Just take a breath with us. Keep driving and keep doing what you're doing, but take a breath with us. So if you are sitting down, go ahead and close your eyes. Make sure that your spine is nice and tall, and take a big inhale through your nose with me. And exhale out your mouth. Another one like that. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Now seal the lips. And as you take a couple of more deep, long breaths in and out through the nose, I would like you to set an intention for what you would like to receive today from this. Are you searching for wisdom? Are you searching for clarity? Are you seeking to understand? Set that intention now. We're all going to put in our intentions into a pot for this specific video. And anytime someone comes back and watches it, another intention gets added to that pot. And they continue to stir together as long as this video lives. And that pot keeps giving and giving and giving. Now, what do you hear around you? Since we're talking about listening today, what sounds are in your immediate environment? Do you have headphones in? Is the outside sound muted? Dampened? Can you hear birds or trees or cars? Are there people in your house? Pets rumbling around? Kids, possibly, playing and running around? What do you hear around you? Take note. And then pick one sound to focus on. Something that was maybe somewhat far away. Maybe it's a slight hum produced by your phone or computer or an electronic in the room. And put your intention on that. Okay. Now that we have your ears tuned up, hopefully you feel a little bit more relaxed and tuned in. Let's go ahead and open our eyes and begin. So today's word, listen. This is one of my favorite words because I am a professional classical musician. Up until this point in my life, that is how I've made my primary income. I love music so much. My soul was called to it at a very early age. And so I have focused a lot of my life on learning how to be a great listener. So that's why we are starting with this number today. And this word today, look at that. I said number. That's funny. And that's funny because how do we analyze a word? Well, every letter, as you can see down here, I have this kind of cipher of sorts, is associated with a number. And letters actually originally came from numbers. Numbers came first. Where did numbers come from? Numbers came from the sacred understanding of universal principles of the cycle of one's life in this human experience. So we will talk a lot about that in this show. We'll talk about where numbers come from, how we got to the letters that we see today. But for today, we're just going to start somewhat simply, and I'm going to show you how I analyze a word. In numerology, there are many different ways that you can look at words. I like to explore them all and see what kinds of patterns reveal themselves as I am doing an analysis of a word. So let's jump in. I'm going to go through and put down the full numbers, which is what you see below. That's the numbers associated with the letters from the alphabet. The root, that is when you add up, like 2 plus 1 equals 3. You get the root of the full number. The vowels represent the soul's urge. What does that word want to express at a soul level? And the consonants are the outward persona of that word. We break names down in this way too. So that is what we are going to look at today. What's fun about this is that I also will show you kind of my tricks on how I do fast math. So if you see, what I am doing is writing down the full numbers first. Then I go and write down the roots, and we get that from the full number. Okay, so 1 plus 2 equals 3. We've got 9. 19 adds up to 10 or 1. We'll bring that down to a 1, a 2, a 5, and a 5. We can also write that over here. I'm going to write this and write this. We can look at this kind of like a code. Okay. So here is how I do really fast math in my head. I'm going to do the roots first and then the fulls. This would be called shorthand math. First, I'm going to go through and I'm going to find everything that adds up to 10. So 9 and 1, 10, 20, 5, 25. We add that and we get 7. Okay, in the fulls, what I go through is I find the big numbers first and I leave out the smallest integer. So for example, I would do 20, 30, 40, 50. I'm going to write that off to the side. Then I'm going to go through and do the same thing I did over here, find the tens that are in the single digits. Or in this case, I have 9, 18, 20, 25, 29. Add that over here and we get 79. So if you're looking for a shorter way to do math, this is how I do shorthand math when I'm doing numerology. And then same thing here. If you're adding up a big number like this and you're like, I don't remember what 7 plus 9 is, what you can do is do 9 and you can break the 7 down into 1 to make a 10 and 6. And that leaves you with 16, 7. So my first analysis looks like that, just to give you an idea. Go ahead and erase this so we have more room. Okay, now we're going to go and we're going to pull out the vowels and the consonants. The vowels, we are going to use A, E, I, O, U. There are certain cases where we use W and Y, and when a word comes up where we see those letters, I will show you when to use them and when to not. But for today, it's pretty easy. We have 9 and we have 5. And then the consonants, we've got 3, 1. I only use the roots for the consonants, by the way. 2 and 5. We add these up. We get 14, 5. And in the consonants, we've got 5, 8, 10, 11. Ooh, that's a special number, 11. But we are going to start over here first. And when we look at the full numbers, this would be called the total expression. The essence of the word. And we're going to look at the root first. So the essence of this, you look at the smallest number first, this number 7. And with numbers, we look to their big associations in the world. So there are 7 wonders of the world. God created the earth in 6 days and rested on the 7th. 7 is a number of wisdom. It is a divine teacher. It is a number of spirituality and mystery. I like to think of the number 7 as a number representing a wise old teacher. Think of someone who is a wise old teacher in your life. And think about how, like, I'm picturing an old wise man, and he's sitting in his chair and he waits for you to come to him. It's a number of rest. It is a number of not having to project, not having to express in a loud way. It is a number seeking knowledge and wisdom, and it expresses it through a quiet spirituality. So, the reason that we look, though, at the other numbers over here is because when we analyze numbers down to their roots, all we have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Okay? 10 numbers. That's it. And each of those numbers encompasses a lot of information. But as we know, we are all unique, we're very unique beings on an individual basis. We are all unique individuals. So we look to the other numbers to see where their uniqueness happens. That's why I wrote this code down here to look at the individual code of the word. And that's going to tell us more about how it expresses itself. Let's come back to the full in a minute. Let's go over and look at the soul's urge and the outward persona. So when you think about listening, you have to get quiet to listen, right? Like in our little tune-up meditation, you had to quiet your body. You had to quiet your mind to tap into your ears. Tomorrow's word, by the way, is hear, H-E-A-R, and we are going to discuss the differences between hear and listen because there is a very distinct difference. But for today, listening is the act of taking in sound and analyzing it and using the sound to come to some conclusion. So that's going to be important as we look at the rest of the word. Now we have this 14.5 that showed up. I will always highlight karmic numbers in orange. So that, and actually this is a karmic number too, and that's why we're going to come back to it. So this 14-5, this is a karmic number of experiences. Someone who has to learn through experience. I have a lot of this in me, and I see this number show up in a lot of people's name analysis. So this is a person that needs to go and learn the thing on their own, right? When you listen, you're doing it yourself. So it is something that you have to experience. You need to experience the sound yourself to come to a conclusion about it. The number 1 is the self. The self. And anytime we see a string of numbers, we can tell a story about it. So here, the number 1 is the self 4, which has come into form. We associate numbers with their geometric forms. So 1. Now we have 2. Now we have 3. Now we have 4. 4 is the first stable form, the square. It is the foundation. So we learn through experiences that we have put into form. The self in form experiencing. Now, let me tell you a little bit more about the number 5. The self in form experiencing what? I haven't told you much about the number 5 yet. 5 is the middle of the line of numbers here, the 1 through 9. It is the tipping point, the balancing point. In 1 through 4, when you're talking about the human experience, you've come onto this earth. You've seen that you are in a dualistic, polarized world. You experience the self through reflection of experiencing others. You start to experience creativity, the divine Trinity, right? Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Conscious, subconscious, superconscious. I could go on, but there's this divine Trinity of creation that happens with the number 3. 4, now you build a foundation for yourself, a stable foundation from which to grow on. These are all self numbers, numbers of the self. But when you get to 5, you start to get curious about the world. You've built your little self ecosystem, but the 5 is a curious number. It seeks freedom. It is an intellectual number because it wants to know more knowledge, and it does not want to be caged, right? Someone who wants to have a lot of experiences wants to be free, wants to feel what freedom means. So that is why we call this a karmic number, because experiences can sometimes go one way and sometimes they can go another, right? Sometimes you have to go and learn before you know if that's something that you want to do again and experience again or not. So that's why we call it a karmic number. So the soul's urge for the word listen is to have experiences. And for me as a musician, I wanted to have as many experiences, experiencing as much music as possible. And I've done a lot of that. So I think that that's a very, in my experience, I have experienced this to be true. Now, how does the outward expression of this word express itself? I love that this comes up. The number 11. This is called a master number. And you can see that I already highlighted it down here. this K as number 11, and this V as number 22. Those are two numbers which we will usually leave or at least look at their original form of these 11 and 22. These are very special numbers. 11 is the master number of the psychic master. Think Jesus, think gurus. It is someone who knows information. Information just comes to them, and they do it through their intuition. They do it by tapping into the quantum field and pulling that information to them, or just sitting and waiting for it. And so when you become a great listener, right, you're not only listening with your ears, you have all of these senses to use to listen. We have our sight, our smell, we have our hearing, touch, taste, right? Those are all ways, technically, to listen. You listen to your body, you listen to others, you listen to music, you listen to your intuition. So this is a word of learning how to use your intuition, and it is the outward persona of this word. This is a very spiritual word. We see that because literally the root of this word is 7. It is a person who sits still and lets the information come to them. And they trust. The 11-2, the psychic master, trusts the information that they are receiving to be able to use it. They have created space in their being, in their situation in which they are listening for that information to come to them. Now, let's go and look at this other word that I highlighted here as a karmic word, karmic number. So 16-7, all of these numbers are associated with, or I should say, we can find associations, we observe associations with tarot. And the number 16 in the tarot deck is the Tower card. I should have brought the deck with me today. I'll do that next time. But the Tower card is a old medieval tower that is exploding. There is fire coming out of it. It's falling down. There are people falling out. It is an exploding tower. It is whenever we see that card come up, it means that whatever you're asking about in your life needs to fall down and demolish before you can move on. Or perhaps the situation that you are asking about is falling down or is about to fall down. So I take this to mean that you have to let go of old perceptions. You have to have an open mind, a beginner's mind, as they talk about in the Zen tradition. I'm going to write that down. Beginner's mind. To be able to listen. Okay? And this is why I look at the full numbers, the root, and all of these other numbers that we see, because you can really pull back the layers and look at the intricacies and what is buried in the word. This is why I'm doing this show. There is so much knowledge and wisdom buried in these words. And until you start to look at words through this lens, every time you speak a word, you are putting all of this out into the universe, and you could have no idea, no awareness of that. And we're at a point where if you want to reach for certain things in your life that you feel like right now are out of reach, you're going to have to change your lenses of perception to get there, right? You're going to have to listen in new ways. You're going to have to seek new knowledge and wisdom and awareness, new teachers, new community. You are going to have to change. And that requires learning to listen. You're going to have to change. That is what this 16:7 is about. We will certainly look at the word change at some point soon. So, the last little bit of this number that we'll look at, you can go and read the number as a code and see, are there any patterns here? Are there any numbers left out? It starts with a 3, a very creative number. We have a 9 in here, meaning totality. It's the last number. I'll even take 0 off. We'll talk about 0 another time. But 9 here is the completion. We have the 1, the self, the 2, the feminine energy. So we have a nice balance right in the middle of the word here. And then we have this 5 and 5, this 10 at the end, completing what we listened to. A lot of curiosity in this number whenever you see numbers that are repeating. Curiosity, creativity, completing cycles, balanced masculine and feminine energy. Now, in this word, for example, we don't see the number 8. We don't see it up here anywhere either. We don't see the number 4. But we do see 4 up there. We see 1, 2, 3, 4. We see 5. We don't see the number 6. And we don't see the number 7. So that tells me that this number doesn't really have to do with success. That's not what this number is about. It is about wisdom. We see 1, 6 up there. There's this number isn't so much about the number 6 is about using the voice, right? This is the opposite of the voice. This is balancing out the voice. When the voice speaks, this number 6, when the tower speaks, or the force of God is coming down on the tower, it's time to listen. And we don't see the number 4 in here, but we do see it up there. And so there is some form, right? You have to learn to listen, which is going to require learning some sort of form to listen. And the example that I would use for that is in music, we have to learn our scales. That is our foundation for learning how to be a good listener and how to be a good musician. You learn your music theory, you practice aural skills, which is practicing how to listen better, and you learn your scales to become a good listener. Let's see, is there anything else? Okay, so tomorrow we are going to talk about the word hear, and we're going to look at the differences between hear and listen. And to my Instagram family, I'm going to go ahead and bring you back up. Hey, Instagram. Okay, so we made it through our first word. So exciting. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, Instagram. Again, I will be here Monday through Friday at 10:30 a.m. Central Time live. Subscribe to the channel so you get notified when a new video goes up and when I go live. If you have a takeaway from this video, you too, Instagram people, if you learned something, give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment below to tell me what you learned. You can also send me a DM to the Behind the Word Instagram page, Instagram people. Follow the Instagram so you can see all the words that I've done. They will be in posts. And share this video or share the post of today's word with a friend. If you feel compelled, you can support the show by giving a donation at the link below. Every bit helps so that I can bring you more of this content. Finally, I do this work one-on-one with people to look at the blueprint of what you came here to do and what talents and abilities, perhaps even challenges, that you came here on this earth with. And we look at that in your astrology chart and your birth name. I analyze your birth name in the same way that you saw me analyze the word listen in today's show. And there is a Calendly link below to see all of the readings that I offer and sign up for a reading. I would love to work with you if you have kind of been getting an itch. If someone has been sending you a lot of astrology memes lately, it might be time to go and look at your chart. So thank you so much for watching. I am so grateful to each and every one of you for tuning in. Thank you, YouTube family. Thank you, Instagram family. This is so much fun for me, and I am grateful I get to share this knowledge and wisdom with an audience. Peace, love, and blessings. Use your words consciously, my friends. See you next time.